Hello, so this is on how to vote for president. Part one is registering to vote. Um, so this might be, one of those ones where it's different parts I put together later on. So first you want to determine your eligibility to vote. Your eligibility is determined both on state and federal laws. Federal law requires that you be a U.S. citizen by birth or by naturalization, and 18 years old at the time of election is held. State laws vary, so you need to check with your local office. The National Association of Secretaries of State maintains a website that answers voter registration questions for each of the 50 states. Felonies and criminals have mixed rights, depending on your state. Some states take away your right to vote completely, others let you vote from prison. Be sure to look it up. If you turn 18 or on the election day, you can register in advance so that you are eligible to vote. To use the U.S. government registration site to register in any state. Some states even let you register completely online. If not, you can print these simple forms out online and mail them in to register without leaving your home. You'll need basic information with you, like an ID card with your ID number and your social security number, but the forms are self-explanatory. You can also drop off your registration off at the polling place or city hall. Party preferences will determine your primary vote in some states. In places like New York, registered Democrats cannot ever vote in Republican primaries, and vice versa. In some states, party preferences mean nothing. Absentee ballots allow you to mail in your actual vote. The U.S. government will mail you a ballot in September, giving you a month or more to vote remotely. Alternately, register to vote at your local DMV. To do this, you'll need 1 or 2 valid forms of ID, depending on the state, and a few hours of waiting in line. You will be given a simple form to fill out, and your ID will be checked to make sure you're who you say you are, and that's it. After a few weeks, check to make sure you are successfully registered. You will receive a card in the mail with your name and voter registration on it if you were successful. However, if you don't get a card, you will still check to ensure you registered properly. Go to canivote.org or enter your 2-digit state abbreviation and enter your 2-digit state to go to your state's registration database. You will be directed to fill in your name, date of birth, and town you live in. If you are registered, you will see the following information: the party you registered under, the polling location address where you will vote, and a link to the telephone number of your local registrars to vote. So, determine if you need an absent ballotee. If you are an active duty member of a uniformed service or a citizen living outside of the United States, you can still vote via absent ballotee. Go to the Federal Voting Assistance Program website. This website provides links to active duty members of the Armed Forces, Merchant Marine, Public Health Service, NOAA, and their family members, and to United States citizens who are living outside of the U.S. for work, school, and other reasons. Click on your state and you will see the following information: the date of your next general election, the deadline date you must register by, the deadline date you must request your absentee ballot by, the date you must return your mail-marked ballot if it must be postmarked before the election, links to your state's absentee voting guidelines and to your state's election website, links to register to vote in the USA if you are not already registered, and links to requesting and tracking your ballot. So that's it for part 1, registering to vote. Part 2 is studying the candidates. So we'll look at that very shortly. Part 2, studying the candidates. First, think about what sorts of policies you support in a president. While a person's personality and temperament are important to consider, you need to think about each candidate not as a person, but as a set of positions. This is your representative from America to the rest of the country and the world, so you need to vote with a clear idea of the sort of ideas and policies they will implement. Some easy considerations must include social policy. Do you want a candidate who enforces a traditional social order attempting to ground America where it is, or a candidate who wants to keep the government from interfering in social practices like marriage equality. Economic policy. Do you believe taxes should be used to improve communal government infrastructure and services, or cut low, leaving these services to private businesses? Foreign policies. What do you think take a candidate to send American? What do you think? What would it take for a candidate to send American troops overseas? Do you want someone who willingly uses forces, or someone who prefers diplomacy? Domestic policy. A big topic that covers everything from immigration, renewable energy, gun rights, and more. Domestic policies varies even within the two major parties. Search for candidate summaries online to determine each nominee's credentials. There are a variety of good independent websites that note the major similarities and differences between candidates, and you should use this as a launching point for your research. Never, however, trust just one of these sites. Read 2 or 3 different overviews and help cover your bases and minimize any biases for either candidate that the original writers might have. Try out Project Vote, Rock the Vote, Vote Smart, or I Side With for good starting spaces. Read each candidate's webpage to see where their priorities lie. A candidate's major website is more or less one giant advertisement. It will, of course, contain a lot of biases and benefits for the candidate, but that doesn't make it unhelpful. Rather than trust these sites as news sources, use them to see where the candidate really wants to focus their energy. For example, a candidate may have a stance on immigration that you like, but they never talk about immigration on their website. Chances are good it is not a priority for them if they win the election, even if you agree. Are the top 3 ideas on the site crime, national defense, and foreign policy? Then you know the candidate's major focus all election will be on safety and defense. Click on major policies, positions, ideas, tenets, or any similarly broad word to find a list of candidate priorities. You also want to, when you're doing your research, watch at least 1 to 2 speeches from all candidates, major candidates. Don't trust everything you read. Take it straight from the source. Give each candidate the chance to win you over in real time. While the positions are important, you still need to think about the candidate's temperament, ability to speak, and their calm or lack thereof under pressure. Spread out the subjects of the speeches. You can usually look up things like Obama on foreign policy or Obama on tax cuts, and you'll get his perspective on a variety of topics. Well, you should also check out debates. Check into debates. Don't watch them in place of a few speeches. Candidates are very different when they give 30 seconds to speak as opposed to 30 minutes. So you can also sign up for a short, free, and weekly news briefing to keep up to date as the election approaches. It is much harder to cram than to study a bit about the candidates in the months before the election. There are sites like the New York Times, Real Clear Politics, Politico, and 538 all have weekly and daily press releases. Usually they are short paragraphs filling you in on any political changes over the week, with links to articles that you might like. Alternatively, there's Google News or Real Clear Politics. Mark Google News or Real Clear Politics your homepage. Every time you open your browser, key news and articles will be there for your interest. So, the final thing you can do for researching the candidates is expand your search to third-party candidates, knowing that they are never a waste of a vote. Many people instinctively think that because they won't likely win, third-party candidates are a waste of a vote. Nothing can be further from the truth. Independent parties actually receive government money based on their votes that lets them bring their ideas to the winners, not as party positions, but as the will of many voters. While a third-party candidate might not win outright, enough support can help third-party ideas win and gain traction with Democrats. For a recent example, look no further than the 2016 primaries. While Bernie Sanders didn't win enough votes to make the nominee, his independent voters have caused Hillary Clinton to adopt his supporters' views. Excuse me. These views include $15 a day minimum wage, $15 an hour, says day, an hour, minimum wage, anti-trans Pacific, and knowing she needs to respect her voters and the will of the people. So that's it for part 2. And then the part 3 is voting on election day. So, hello. So this is part 3, voting on election day. Double check your voter registration a month or so before the election to prevent issues on election day, especially today when voting issues have already consumed primaries in New York, Arizona, and elsewhere. There is no reason not to be extra sure of your constitutional right to vote. Head once more to canivote.org and check in on your local election board. You do not want to have this fight on election day if there is an issue. Look up your local polling policies ahead of time, as well as their open hours. Call or look up your local election board. In most cities, this is simply the city's board, like the San Francisco Board of Elections. In smaller towns, it is likely a country board. Still, a call to City Hall or a quick internet search should reveal the locations easily. Be sure to look up polling places address, alternative polling places, and hours of operation. Bring a valid federal or state ID with you to the polling place. Different states have different needs, so bringing an ID is always worth it if you're unsure about the requirements. If you have your voter registration card and want to be sure of no issues or problems, bring this along as well. Note, however, that many states only require your ID. So you want to budget at least an hour to vote just to be safe. Depending on timing, population, and the availability of polling staff, you could be out the door in 2 minutes or 2 hours. Long waits to vote are supposed to be rare, but again, recent issues with the 2016 primary, where voters waited 4 or 5 hours in some areas, have exposed problems with the system that have yet to be addressed. Instead of forfeiting your right to vote because you have to leave, make sure you give yourself time in cases of issues. Also know how to differentiate and work the different types of voting when you step up to the booth. Voting can be done by paper and pencil, mechanically or electronically. The most common ways to vote are paper ballot. You simply mark your choice with a pencil. The ballot looks similar to the type of school test you use to take by filling in the answers, circles. You place your marked ballot in a locked box or put it through a scanner. Someone will help you with this if you aren't comfortable doing it yourself before you leave the polling room. There's also the mechanical voting machines. Many localities still use mechanical voting machines. You step into the box and this curtain automatically closes behind you so that you may vote in private. The candidate issues are listed on the left side of the machine. Depress the small lever next to the each name or ballot question, either yes or no. When you have cast all your votes, you will slide a large lever located at the base of the machine all the way to the right. Your votes are registered in the machine and the lever opens the privacy curtains so that you can exit. And then we have electronic voting systems. Even though most voters are computer savvy these days, each state that uses electronic voting provides an instrumental tutorial to voters before they vote. If you can navigate your way around a computer or a smartphone, then voting electronically will pose no challenge to you. You simply look at the screen, make your selections, touch, point, and then when you have cast all your votes, you touch Cast My Vote button, and that is located at the bottom of the screen. The times I have voted, I actually went down to City Hall, got a card for an absentee saying I can't make it, disabled, I can't make it down, or work, I can't make it, I'd like to still vote. And then they have given me that, I fill it out, and then I return it to them. So, that's it. Thanks for watching.